go to the website. And if I've done this correctly, I need to go here, and then I need to go here. And here's our Clewell website. It's very basic. There's nothing without any kind of thrills or that sort of thing. But here's what I have so far. This is the opening page. It's basically just a summary of the family history over here in the left column. And as you can see up here at the top, can everybody see this okay, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Then I'm going to click onto the genealogy, and here's what you're going to see at this point. A whole lot of nothing. That's because I'm not exactly sure how to upload the genealogy. I've tried a couple times and I have failed. And one of the things we have to be careful about with respect to sharing the genealogy is revealing personal and private data. I explained this once before, that there are 3 ways that I can share the genealogical information specifically with those who are still living. I can have the print out the genealogy, and it'll say something like John had a son and he was John Jr. and John Jr. was born March 8th, 2021. And that information will be all out there in the open. I can also have the computer to change it to John had a son. His name was John Jr. And his birth date was private. I think it says private or not available or some such thing like that. Or I can say John had a son and his name was private and his birth date is private. So that basically shows a whole lot of nothing, but we're going to have to make a decision on how we're going to, once I can figure out how to upload the genealogy, we're going to have to make a decision as to how we want the information to be shared. I'm very concerned about information being shared with people who are living, and I want to respect their privacy. So that's, like I said, that's something that we need to make a decision on. Next, we have a lot of our, by the way, if you want to ask a question, go right ahead if you need to interrupt me. Next, we have just a page for our military. We have a lot of Clewells who have served in the military over the decades, and I'd like to get some kind of acknowledgement of them and their service, what they did, especially from, we have 2 of our Clewells who served in the Revolutionary War. We had a whole bunch of Clewells who served in the Civil War and all the subsequent wars after that. Of course, don't forget the War of 1812 in there. So I would like to acknowledge their service and that sort of thing. So there is that. At least there's a page for doing something with that. Galleries. Now, I picked up this poem, if you remember a few months ago, the senator from Kansas died.
Bob Dole.
Bob Dole, thank you. And one of the people who spoke at his funeral read this poem, and I was moved by it. I thought it was a very, very nice poem. So I opened that up there. And there's an index here. And one of the things that's very frustrating is I have to enter all this information by hand. I wish there was some kind of a way I could enter the information and then let the computer add it all up. But that's where we're at this point. I can click on a name and they'll go right to that person, that kind of a thing. So there's that part of the.
That's great. I love that, Richard. That's great.
And you can hover over a person's picture and they will, their name and maybe a little piece of information will be will appear. That's all the photos I have right now, but I also have them grouped. So if I just want the men who are represented here, I can click on men, and all the guys, their pics will open up. Here are all the gravestones that I have, And one of the things that I'm doing is once the photo does appear down here at the bottom, you can see the name, birth date, death date, who their parents were, who their children were. If I have any other biographical information, I will add that as well. So there's that kind of information that that I've been including. And also you'll notice I put a stamp on virtually all the photos. And this one came from one of our cool cousins, Gary Roberts, so I acknowledged him. But I put a stamp on every one of the photos so that, like down here, Clewell family, so that I know people are going to take these photos, and I want them to take them, but I want them to know where they got them from. So it's very time consuming to do that, but it's kind of important. I need to move that down. If I want just the women, I can do that. If I want families, because there's a lot of family photos, I can do that as well. So here's a test. Who is this gentleman here? If you can see my cursor, who am I circling there? Does that person look familiar? He's in the center, in the back.
Louis B. Clewell.
That is Louis B. Clewell.
Because I'm reading the bottom of the picture.
Oh, you cheater!
I cheated.
I meant to cover that up, but that's Louis B. Clewell. This gentleman here, that's my sister and my great grandfather. That's Andrew Frederick Clewell. And Peter, one of these ladies is your great grandmother, and I wrote it down. You have a Julianne is a part of your family line. Now, unfortunately, I do not know any of these ladies. I don't know what their names are, and other than Louis B. here and Andrew Frederick here on the left, I don't know either of these two gentlemen. And so that's a little happy mystery. If anybody could, oh, I'm sorry, somebody's here in the waiting room. If somebody can figure out who they are, I would love to be able to identify them. So
did you have success when you uploaded other pictures and stuff on the Facebook site? Do you think that maybe give that a try?
You mean by people identifying who those individuals were?
Yeah, maybe somebody knows one of them, and it might lead to other people.
I've had some success, yes, but I'm not sure what will happen. But anyway, those are some of the photos. Oh, and here are some 2008. Here are some of the reunion photos that we had. And the reason why I bring this up is because, does anybody know who this lady is over here on the right? Now, I wish
Brenda Sue. Brenda, yeah.
No.
No? No, okay.
That's a very good guess. I wish Nancy Hitchcock Clewell were here, because she mentioned this lady's name a couple of weeks ago. She mentioned a lady who wrote some books, and her name was Golden Keys Parsons.
Yeah.
And that's this lady right here.
Golden Keys Parsons. Yeah, I got her books.
I got her books too.
And we started a little tradition in those years. We had this. Those of you who are familiar with Nazareth, you know that in our area there's a lot of slate, and I forget the name of the Capelli, Cabrini. It's one of those good Irish names. But anyway, I know it's Italian. They make these beautiful like coasters and clocks and all kinds of rigmarole bookmarks out of slate. And so we started to have a tradition of a Clewell clock that was made out of slate, and we'd raffle it off to one of the individuals. And that one and only reunion that she was able to attend, that's the one where she was able to get the Clewell clock. But that's, we need to get out of that. But that's, oh, does anybody know who this lady is?
Your mom.
Hey, Richard,
Yes, yes.
real quick, it's Capizola Brothers, Slate Company in Bangor.
That's right. There's Conrad.
Hey,
There he
Hey,
is.
Conrad.
hello.
So anyway, hey, Conrad, remember this?
Oh.
Come on, it's open up. There we go.
There
That's,
you go.
what, 12 years ago?
Yeah, must be at least. I look a lot younger, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Don't we all?
And in that year, we also took a boat ride on the Lehigh Canal. That was just part of our get together at the time. But anyway, these are some of the photos that I have on our website for our general family reunions, that sort of thing. Okay, documents. Of course, here's a picture of the pass, and an explanation and a translation of the pass. And I have a whole list of historical documents. Here's the signatures of Franz and George. Once it opens up. Down here is Franz's signature. If you can see my cursor, and just above it is George's signature. I'm going to open it up, but I think it's not going to. Yeah. See, I can't make it move the way I'd like. But anyway, this is the petition that they had sent to the Moravians asking for a pastor. I would like all family members to get a copy of this. Here's the Pennsylvania Dutch poem that was written by Liz B. Clewell, and there are 2 other translations. I hope it's going to open up. Come on, you can do it. You can do. There we go. Translations were by Carl Remmel, who's I think my mom is the one who contacted him, and Willard Werkheiser. He's one of our Clewell family members. But over here on the left column, there's the Pennsylvania Dutch, and here are 2 other translations for that poem. He really does a remarkable job in capturing the historical background and the traditions of the family and that sort of thing. He does. It's a very important job that he had done there. Let's see. We've got the original manifests. We've got the manifest of the Billender Townsend, the boat on which Johannes Gefellern and Louisa were on. In fact, no, I can't make it move. But his signature is over here in the far right. If you can see where this little X is, there's Johannes and there's Gefellern. That's his signature. And of course, because the boys were young, they didn't get to sign it. And of course, also in that tradition, the women would not get to sign it. It was just the man who would sign. But that's the passenger list of for the boat at that time. Here's something of interest. Rick, I can't think of his last name. Rick Brookert. He was one of the pastors of Shennick a number of years ago, and he wrote a hymn for us. And this became a tradition at most of the reunions that the family would sing this hymn together. And it talks about the family and how they came across the Atlantic and eventually settled in the Nazareth area and that sort of thing. I thought it was very nice of him to do something. And if you go further down, here are all the reunions, the reunion bulletins. Here's the 2007 reunion. And it might take a little while to load up because there's a whole, okay. Yeah, let's see, I think I need to do that. But yeah, this is a copy of one of the original bulletins that was used, and that this was not the first reunion. This was the 3rd reunion. But and interestingly enough, their first several reunions were on a Wednesday, and I don't know why they did that. Somebody going to say something?
Well, didn't businesses used to close on Wednesday? I can remember that growing up. Maybe that's why.
I'm sorry. Who was that? You, Ben, who was talking?
When I was growing up in town, every business closed on Wednesday afternoon, and maybe that's why they did it, thinking they could get a lot of people there then, as opposed to the weekend. Just
Oh,
a guess.
that's a great point. I never gave that a thought. But
Why did every business close on Wednesday afternoon?
I have no idea. I know it's traditional in small town Germany, that the small towns in Germany that they do that.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if that's a part of the tradition because, you know, the Pennsylvania Dutch or the Pennsylvania Germans were very strong in our area. So that's
Yeah, the last remnant of that was a lot of the family doctors. That's the only thing I recall with that. They would close on Wednesday afternoons.
okay. But anyway, all these bulletins, now I still got a whole bunch more to add, but these bulletins are available for people to download. Documents. Now here's one that is nothing is going on, but I have a page here for what I'm going to call notable Clewells. Clewells who have done something interesting, Clewells who have done something important, Clewells that did something remarkable, that are noteworthy of. For example, one such Clewell is a fellow by the name of Charles Clewell. I think he died like in the 1950s. Does anybody know what's important about Charles Clewell, what he did?
Other than the fact that Charles W. Clewell was my grandfather. And so he was, Charles William Clewell was an attorney he actually started his work in Rhode Island, where he was part of the inspecting crew for steamships. Then he became, got his attorney's degree, went down and became chief clerk of the court in Philadelphia. Philadelphia County at that time was basically half of the eastern third of Pennsylvania. So it had all the birth records and the death records. And so he was able to collect and easily go into the old records, pull out all the files that we needed to create the 1907 Clewell edition. And so that's basically a little bit about what I know about Charles W. Clewell.
Well, I'm thinking of a different Charles Clewell.
Oh, okay.
This particular Charles Clewell lived in Cleveland, Ohio. I believe it was Cleveland. Maybe it was Canton, Ohio. And he came up with a patina on pottery. Patina is the finish that's put on pottery. And what's remarkable about it is no one has been able to reproduce his unique patina. It has somehow he's been able to incorporate metal into the glaze, and the pottery will have this beautiful coppery bluish green color to it. And like I said, no one was ever able to reproduce this patina. So it's very remarkable. Anyway, that's a page I'd like to have dedicated to our Clewell family members who did something unique.
Yeah.
Next page, the Clewell DNA project. Yes, sorry, we're closed, but just as an update, I have 3 of 4 Clewells who are willing to take the test. We have 2 on Georgia's side and 1 on France's. And so I still need 1 more France, and then we'll make some arrangements to have the Y DNA test taken and see if we can get past Francois in terms of his cultural background and that sort of thing. Get past him and see maybe if he was more Spanish than French, or maybe some other European nationality. So, but anyway, that's something to be done yet. Here's something I've tried to work on, but I just haven't been very successful. It's a blog. It's one of the reasons why I want to blog is because people can add information or contact others, and whether or not it deals with Clewell history or deals with the genealogy or something else related to our family. This would be, I think, more advantageous than what we have on Facebook. Facebook is nice, but like I said earlier, when stuff gets piled down, further down and further down, you miss it and you don't know what you're looking for, and it's kind of hard to dig through all the stuff down below. So I'd like to see a blog added to our site. And then something for kids. But I know somebody got my connection there, parking for aliens. But anyway, I know Donna has come up with a little bit of a story, and I admit I have not had time to, or I should say, I've not taken the time to look at it yet. But I'd like to see a story or a couple stories for our kids, for parents to read to their kids and begin to educate them what their ancestors were like, who they were, what they did, anything significant about their ancestors, and that sort of thing. And it's just it's something that's very important to just instill in our precious kids and get them thinking about their earliest known ancestors. And then finally, just contacts. That's just some ordinary odds and ends, no big deal. But any questions that you have, that's in a nutshell. That's the family website.
So, Richard, when you're talking about the genealogy, I think it is a good idea to protect anybody who is still living. So is there some way to anybody that has passed away where you actually have a death record or a death date to have their names opened up, and yet those that are still with us, but have them as private? And can it be done automatically? Or is there something that would have to be triggered to, once you got the death record, to open up their link to make it a public view?
Okay, I'm not sure I understand your question.
So on some of the websites, the genealogy sites, you see the family tree come down, and everybody who's passed away, their name and birth date, death date are open, shall I say.
Okay.
But anybody who is still alive, they're just listed as private. But I was wondering how they do that, whether or not there is some mechanism, or if somebody has to go in and manually turn that link on to show who that private person was.
That's done by the computer. As long as once the death date is entered, then the computer knows that it can share that information. And I forget what the exact number of years. Let's say I had their birth date in 1890. Well, the likelihood that they're still alive today is very remote. And again, I'm not sure exactly how many years it'll allow to go by. Maybe it's 70 years, maybe it's 80 years, and then they'll just put them in as deceased. But it doesn't have an actual death date.
Well, and Ancestry.com doesn't do it like that. Ancestry.com, if you accidentally leave it living, that person, it will be private on the family tree. So like I was looking at somebody's family tree that had somebody from 1800s, and since they said that they were living, it said private. And everybody after that person had passed away, so I could see those people, but I couldn't see this person way in the past, because somehow I think when you're first entering a person, sometimes it automatically puts them as living, and you have to push the radio button that says deceased, even if you don't know what their death date, or their birth date was. So, but that's how Ancestry.com does it. I don't know other places.
Right. Right. I can do it manually, or I could set it up for the computer to do everything. But yeah, that's one of the elements that can be done.
So the second question I had about that too is if you've got, let's say I want to look at my entire family, and so I'm alive, it would say that I was private. But would I have the ability to look at my descendants as opened up so that they were not private, so that I could actually review their histories and that sort of stuff?
Yes,
So each individual tree would be open, no matter whether they're living or dead. But it's like if I had a cousin or somebody else, they would be listed as private. You see what I'm saying?
No, no.
Yeah. It's just a question of where does that private identify itself? If I can see my descendant tree,
Right.
But I can't see my brother's descendant tree. Or would it be that because he's my brother, I can see his descendant tree?
Well, first of all, it's not going to be in a tree type form. It's going to be in more of a book type form, more of a. Most of you, I've sent like your descendants or your ancestors, and it's, for lack of a better term, it's more in a book type form, and so that's kind of what you're going to get. But you would get all the information where they were, any biographical information that I have on them, if they're deceased, if I have the obituary, information as to when they were died, where they were buried, information like that. So that information would be published to you or sent to you, or I should say, webpage. So, but it's more of the birth date that would be kept private. So does that answer your question?
And yeah, okay, that does. Then the second thing that we were talking about, the documents, and is there a description on how one could upload pictures for family pictures or individual pictures, so that, or is it all going to have to be done by sending it to you and then you adding it to the
That's a
website?
good question.
That's a great question, and at this point, I have no other solution other than you got to send it to me.
Right.
If we could if we could bypass me, I would love it. But I don't know of any other way to do it. And I'll be honest, I wish I had for lack of a better term, a webmaster or two that they could take care of all the other stuff, and I could just focus on the genealogy, because the genealogy itself is a major task. It's one of those things that just never ends. My sister has been typing. Well, she has like 200 obituaries, Joanne. Are you still here? Is she still here?
He's muted.
I'm still here. Sorry. I was muted. I've got, there's like 200 and some odd obituaries. I've got maybe 36 typed out of those 200.
One of our great resources is John Beidel. John knows a lot of the surnames in our family, and when someone dies here in the Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton area, he picks up on those obituaries. He makes a copy of them, and eventually I get them or my sister gets them, and slowly but surely we get them entered into the genealogy, as well as getting a copy of them. So that's, I don't know what we're going to do when John's not here anymore, but he's been a real wonderful asset. So anything else?
Yeah, Richard, I was going to say, I was listening. Short of you giving somebody your ID and password to get into the back door to upload and update the website, you're pretty much locked into doing it yourself until we get somebody else who would be able to do it.
Yeah, and I don't know how else.
That's what we have to do. That's what we have to do for the church. We have there's a generic, I think it's like ShennickMoravian.org is the ID, and then there's a password that we all have to get into that, but it's still logging into the same Shennick account to update the Shennick webpage.
Right. Right.
I just want to say thank you for doing this awesome task. It is just, I'm thrilled with what you have done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'm sorry, I'm just not that computer literate. I don't have a 5 or 6 year old grandson or granddaughter who knows all this stuff. And it's frightening what these little monsters know. Maybe they know too much. I don't know, but we can discuss that later. But like I said, I wish I'd have at least 1 or 2 webmasters or web mistresses, whatever you want to call them, to take care of the administrative junk. And I just prefer to just stick to the genealogy and that sort of thing. But yeah, I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a preview of what's going on. In fact, I figured out how to share some documents and information. So I thought I'd at least try to share that kind of stuff. Anything else about the genealogy or the
Is the website posted out yet for people to actually see on the net, or?
No, the only thing that they will actually see is just a little blurb that says coming soon.
Okay.
Now, I can give everyone, like, for lack of a better term, everyone in here a temporary pass. And if you want to fool around with what I have,
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I better make sure I get everybody's names. I'll give everybody like a week to play with it and see what you want to do, and make suggestions, that sort of thing. If there's nothing else that you want to do, and what I'll do is for your name, I'm going to put a T in front of your name, and then put in your last name and your first initial. So if you see it look a little bit strange, don't panic. There's a method to my madness, and you'll be able to get to everything. You'll be able to download any of those documents, any of those reunion bulletins, any of the other documents, and so on. So that's something that you will have access to.
Richard, I don't know how hard it is to add another tab, but I definitely think that you should have a tab that's like called store, because hopefully some of all this cost can be, like, in the future, pay for itself through whatever, like, we might have that could be sold.
Okay.
Like, and even if it just had a contribution button, like, people could contribute.
Okay. That is certainly something that is doable. I don't know how to set something like that up, to be very honest. But it's doable. But yeah. But a contribution page tab, contributions or
Donations.
okay. Anything else?
Was there a section? I don't think there was, but then I've had 2 beers today, so. For example, I have a little tiny glass. It's maybe a shot glass from, like, it says Clewell on it. It's a beautiful little like cranberry glass. And I'm just wondering, like, if I sent you a picture of that, can that be, like, that uploaded, or maybe somebody else has some kind of historical item, not just documents, but an item that we might enjoy seeing that some of the family has, for us to see what one of our ancestors actually held in their hand, or like an iron, if there was such a thing back then, that kind of thing, a vase, I don't know. I'm just looking for items other than just to see. I love antiques, and I just think it would be fascinating to see things that my ancestors actually used.
I wish you could have joined us. It was on the Friday after Thanksgiving. Conrad, John Beidel, and I got together, and Donna and her son, Jarrett, the purpose of it was to just let basically Conrad and John share their memories of Clewell reunions and tape them, because after they're gone, I don't know who's going to have the old reunions to remember. But one of the things that we had done is we brought in Clewell pottery. We brought in Clewell milk jugs from the Clewell family up in Berwick, Pennsylvania. We brought in Conrad. What else? Conrad brought in some great photos of Clewell family members. Conrad, are you still there?
Yeah, we brought in buttons from the reunion.
Ice cream scoop.
Ice cream scoops. Oh. I mean, I still have other things that were not displayed. I have a pencil box actually from Tillman from way back, and Chris, my son, has it in his possession. I'm gradually giving him everything. His house is going to look like a museum till we're done.
Yeah, there was the doorknob too, right? The doorknob that came from the farmhouse.
Right,
Oh, wow.
right. Yeah, I got a handmade door lock assembly that came out of the church parsonage at one point, and it's signed Clewell. My son also has a large desk that was made by a Clewell in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. He even has his card that says who he was and all that. He has that. My son has it at his home now. So we do have, things from the past that, we could display online if we get that far.
That would be, it's just amazing to see. I'm sorry I missed it.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't anything that was advertised per se. We just happened to get together, and we brought some of our Clewell memorabilia with us, and we got to share that information. So it was, I was amazed at some of the stuff that we brought and gathered together.
I just think it's wonderful that your grandchildren or your son actually wants to have these things. We want to downsize at our age, and nobody wants anything. So it's like, you can just give it away. So maybe if nobody wants my little Clewell glass, someday it can come up to Schneck and be up in the church or something. I'd hate to see it thrown in a dumpster.
Right. Well, maybe you could raffle it off or something to the highest bidder.
Well, I'm too selfish. I don't want to get rid of it until I'm dead.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that has happened over the years, there have been Clewell coffee mugs that have been made. One of the traditions of the Moravian Church is what they call the love feast. And Conrad or Joe, you might be able to fill me in more. Was there a specific Clewell related event that I know you used the Clewell coffee mugs at one of the love feasts years ago. What was the purpose of that?
Yeah, we did. I don't remember which reunion it was, but we got them made, and then we sold, what was left over, and I wound up with several of them at my house when it was all said and done, you know. And I just gave them out to relatives just to get them out of my basement. But good news is some of our cousins have them. They still have them.
That's good.
And I have mine. I may have even 2 or 3. I'm not sure till I finish digging through.
I was
my
trying to
basement.
find mine.
I was gonna say, I think we have 1 or 2 of them at home here too, Richard.
At least.
Yeah, but we did that kind of as a fundraiser as well as a memorabilia type thing at one of the reunions.
Yeah, like that's what I'm thinking would work really well at, like, if we came up with something or different things that could be like used as a fundraiser.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, eventually, I mean, you know, if there's enough interest with enough people, we eventually get to that point, you know. If enough people log in and see the site, you know, they might be interested in purchasing something like you say, or, you know, on that order, you know.
Well, hopefully when I have the one main book done within hopefully a year, we can do that as a fundraiser and have like a live thing and have people pay, and that can go to the reunion.
Yeah, I think all things like that, you know, I don't know, like the potential is very great.
I've got my glass.
Oh,
It says R.W. Clewell, 1911.
so that's what that is. It says R.W. Clewell.
Well, that's my relative.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, you.
Well, you don't have to hold on.
I think we're having a moment.
Well, Donna and I are closely connected
Oh,
through her husband. So we didn't know each other until we started doing this, but I knew her husband when he was a little boy.
oh,
Her husband's mother was my second cousin. Was
okay.
my father's first cousin. And so we saw them, we saw his mother. Sadly, his mother died at too young.
Okay.
But, you know, I know all her siblings and.
Yeah, my husband's siblings.
Yeah, your husband's siblings. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Sharon, could
Yeah,
you
his
hold that?
mother.
Now they're friends with him?
Could you hold that up there?
Because it's a four-town.
Because it keeps fading in and out. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I don't know where to put it.
Right there.
Right in
I am
front.
not computer. I don't know where to stick it, but can you see it? It's
Oh, yes. Look at
And
all
guess
that.
what?
beautiful.
See?
Oh, look, and yours says what?
I don't know, but it says it's
You
like
got the clue, but what are the initials on yours?
this we got from John's aunt Geraldine,
Yeah.
and it came from her mother Florence.
Florence, right? And
And
Herman was an antique dealer too.
so I was told that they got this at a World's Fair.
Okay, and they
Wait.
must have had their names on them.
And they put their, yeah, but see, it says 1911. What World's Fair did they go to? Where did that come from?
I don't know. I'm gonna guess New York. That was probably the closest, unless,
I don't know. I was looking up World's Fair and I can't figure out where she went. But this is like what they would do. Like when they went to like fairs or whatever, they would have their names engraved into it. And it was like a prize, like not a prize, but like, you know, when you go to carnivals
Souvenir.
or fairs,
Souvenir,
and yeah, souvenir. Thank you.
keepsake, yeah.
A keepsake. So like you wouldn't think that a glass like this would be a souvenir, because it's so, you know, it's not, it's glass, but but that's what they were doing. But it's,
There you are. We each have one.
yeah, I couldn't figure out where, I still can't, where they went. Do you
So
know?
in 1911, there was a Turin International World's Fair from April 29th of 1911 to November 19th of 1911. So it was in Turin, Italy.
It was in Italy?
Yeah, no,
And
they
there
didn't
was-
go to Italy.
It had 7,409,000 visits and was on over 247 acres.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't think, I'm thinking the story got a little mixed up and they didn't go to a World's Fair.
Yeah.
There was an international art exposition in 1911, but that was also held in Rome.
Yeah. No, I kind of did what you're doing, Peter, and I couldn't come up with anything.
Yeah, the interesting part is I was told the World's Fair too, back when my parents had this. That it
So
was from the World's Fair.
did it belong to your great grandmother or grandfather?
Yeah, it belonged to my great grandparents and my great grandparents, which would have been Arlene's grandparents. But my great grandparents.
Yeah. So like this came from Florence Clewell, which is John's grandmother and Arlene's mother.
Yeah.
Because her married name is not Clewell, it's Warner.
Warner, yeah.
Yeah. So, and they both went to the same one in 1911. So we got to figure out where they went in 1911, and it probably wasn't Italy.
I doubt the whole family went, if that's the case.
Exactly.
Maybe
You
one of
never
them
know,
did.
though. They could have gone to a World's Fair in Italy.
Yeah, I mean, one of them may have and got everybody, but I think this looks like their signatures too. Maybe it's their signatures too. I don't know.
But they were both R.W. Clewell, right?
Mine is RW.
No, mine, I really can't make it out. I think that's an E. And this is like an M. And I don't know, maybe an O, I'm not sure. And then a really fancy C that kind of looks like they might have messed up. And then it goes into Clewell, but it ends it with a fancy like thing that almost looks like a Y. Does yours have that?
I think it's just the cursive that they're doing. They're doing it in fancy cursive. Mine looks all squiggly and all kinds of things, but it's clearly, when you look at it, R period W period Clewell, 1911. But when you talk about the fancy things, yeah, it's very fancy. They even have looks like grapes. Maybe they did go to Italy. There's like a little thing of grapes hanging underneath.
Oh, that's true. There is grapes.
Maybe they did.
Yeah.
go to Italy. Who knows? Unfortunately, we can only guess at this point. Unless we find someone else that has these.
I actually have a larger glass.
Oh, really?
Does
But
it say 1911?
Well, I'm wintering over in Florida and I can't put my hands on it at the moment.
Okay.
But I have it, and it's a larger glass than the shot glass, but it's the same kind of writing on it. And I don't remember the year. It is early, so I can check later on in the spring when I get back home. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's something that they did as a souvenir or a keepsake not just for the World's Fair, because I've seen these around at antique malls and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I think it goes beyond the World's Fair kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They may have done it like as a keepsake for a wedding anniversary or something like that, because that's kind of
Hmm.
known as different things in antique circles, but it's ruby red glass.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And, it was quite collectible at one point. That kind of glassware is gone by the wayside kind of. It isn't as big a demand anymore. But I kind of think, like I said, it was used as a anniversary type thing, even for a wedding anniversary or something like that. I picked mine up in Bethlehem at a flea market, and it has a family name on it, and it's very fancy writing, just like you have there with the Clewells. So, and it's in that era where that was popular.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, like I said, I've seen it various places, and I doubt if everybody was to the World's Fair. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Certainly not in Italy.
Certainly not in Italy.
Yeah, this is bigger than a shot glass. This is about a 6 to 8 ounce glass.
Yeah, it's like a little mug.
Yeah.
Right.
Port wine glass.
There you go.
No,
Ah, okay.
What?
for port wine.
Port wine.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I just so happen to have port in my refrigerator.
oh,
There you go.
we're coming to your
Look it
house.
up.
Yeah. I don't know how it mixes with beer, but
Very carefully.
yes, I use it for cooking. So.
Sure, that's what you
That's
want
what
us
they
to
all
believe.
say.
Yeah. For medicinal purposes,
Right, right,
snake bites and other things.
right.
Does anybody want to talk about the reunion, Donna?
Yeah, no, I want to know if a date has if there's a date that the church is free or
Joanne?
available. Oh,
I gotta unmute myself. I looked at the church calendar as far as the 31st. I think we were talking the 31st of July. As far as I know, that is available. Let me just double check to see calendar. July. No, it was July 30th, the Saturday. Yeah, as far as I know, that's available. If that's the date you want, I can, get the paperwork and, get the ball rolling. My only one real concern is with everything going on right now, and gas prices most likely going to be $7 a gallon by July. Is it feasible for us to do something?
Or should we just try and plan something on Facebook or some
Right.
sort of other venue?
Yeah, because they're already there's already been food shortages and things like that. So if we want to catering costs are going to be through the roof. And again, gas prices, some people won't mind paying their gas to come to the reunion, but some people will say, you know what, I'm saving my gas money to take the family vacation to Florida or, wherever they might not want to, because I know it was almost $27 to $30 to fill my tank up the other day.
Yeah.
my thinking kind of on the other side of it. And I think all those things will have an impact. Absolutely. But we went through 2 years of pandemic where, nobody wanted to go anywhere because of the pandemic. And now we have, inflation. And, I don't know, personally, I'm kind of sick of saying, well, we can't do anything because of this.
I feel the same way, but I think we have to be realistic about everything.
And I think you do have to be kind of realistic, because when we think back to the 1973 gas prices, it only escalated during the summer to the point where you could only get gas every other day. And I hope that we don't get to that situation. But at the other side of the coin is, I see no leadership coming out of Washington to help with any of this. So it could get bad, worse than it is already.
He's a Republican.
Yeah, because I think in California, they're already paying $7 a gallon.
Yeah.
It's up here in Nazareth at our local Giant, it's $4.45 a gallon.
I paid $4.95 in Danville last
Ouch.
week.
Yeah,
That's not that far from you guys. And of course, it's
Right.
off the road a little bit, but
Nope. A couple of hours ago, I Googled how to have a Zoom family reunion. And here's a bunch of links that it offers. So, you can do your own homework and that sort of thing. But that's another possibility. I mean, if we have a physical reunion, yes, we can add something like this to it. But this is some other.
Richard, I got one question.
Yes, sir.
Being you're the originator, can you see how many people have actually logged into our site that are, following us? Do
You mean-
see a significant number?
I mean, in terms.
Facebook?
If Facebook we can do, yeah.
Well, Facebook or whatever source, that they may be tapping in. I'm just curious how many people are actually following.
That's an
On
excellent question.
Facebook, it's 270. It's recently jumped like about 30 members, because I think it is because of like Richard's, like emails and posts and stuff like that. So it has recently, in the last month or so, jumped about 30 people. So there's 270. I mean, like, we could post on there a survey and say, if we think that, let's suppose that gas prices are going to be like $7 a gallon in the summer, and it's going to be like prices are going to go up for food and things like that, who would still be interested in going to Pennsylvania for a family reunion? And maybe see how many people actually say, yes, I would, or, because, and see, but that is just a section of all the pools that are there. But that could be a good indication. Like if out of 270 people, if 100 people respond and 70 people say no and 30 people say yes, then we might be like, can we really do it with 30% of the people that say that they want to go?
right. No, I think your idea of a poll, some sort of poll setup where you actually ask the question, would you be interested in a family reunion? If so, on the 30th of July, we have the Shennick Church that we could have it at. Would that be something that you would be willing to drive to and spend the afternoon with the family? And,
But you don't think we should say anything about the fact that, gas prices might go up or something?
We can't really project out there, but I think you might put in there, looking at the current economic situation.
right.
Would you be interested?
A very simple question there, like just two questions. Would you be interested in a virtual or a real reunion? Just very simple, just like two questions.
Yeah, but
yes
it
or no.
wouldn't be like I don't think that should be the question. Or like, yes, I agree. The first question would be, would you be interested in going to this actual reunion? And then the second question would be, if not, would you be interested in a virtual one?
Yeah.
You know, just kind of assuming that everyone who would be interested in actually attending would probably most likely be interested in a virtual one as well.
Yeah, because, you know, if we do a poll across the Facebook, it would be more accurate because hometown people, I mean, I've been doing reunions for, I don't even know how many, 50 plus years, but anyway, you know, a lot of times you don't get a real local response. Local crew aren't interested. So if we get an overall picture of everybody, it would be more helpful.
But don't you think, Conrad, that might change a little bit because we haven't had one in a while? That I mean, there'll be certainly Clewells that just don't really care, you know?
Well, I can tell you there are that number out there, but yeah,
Yeah.
you just never really know for sure. But you know,
Not muted.
times are changing. People seem to be doing their genealogies more than they have in the past, but so you just never really know till you ask the questions, I guess.
I know
Oh, go
what
ahead.
I know. Just real quick, surveys are great, and which we can definitely do. But if I remember correctly, from some of the ones that we've done in the past, we're lucky to get 10% of responses back.
Yeah,
I
I know that's the
mean,
problem.
Our mailing list was like 350 people, and we would mail it out whether they attended a reunion or not. And like I said, we're lucky if we got 10% back.
I have a question for like everybody. How many people do you think it would take to be worth it?
Good question. No, very, very good question.
Yeah.
That is a good.
Well, that's the thing, we don't really know for sure. And if we have it catered, we absolutely have to have a rough amount to gauge on how much to order. So, you know, some way, shape, or form, however we do it, we got to come up with some sort of number.
Right.
But
And I mean,
you're
I
gonna
know,
need something to drag the people in besides just food and eating. Because I think, like, you know, if you take people as Shennick, even though I'm not there, you know, it's like people were connected by family, and it's like you're only gonna get people interested like in reunions where they're like almost a little closer. This is more of an abstract family. So
Yeah.
I think it connects people who are more interested in history. Like Conrad said, the fact is there's a positive thing because we're on a small uptick of people being interested in genealogy,
Mhm.
family history more than we ever have. I see it growing from 10 years ago, Pennsylvania German things, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of effort to do that, but you know, if we work together and have a big presentation, I think that would do a little bit more. And maybe honestly, maybe this isn't the year. Maybe it has to be one more year and we can build it up. You know.
Well, besides the presentation, we could easily do a tour to the Whitfield House
Oh
Yep.
yeah, absolutely.
or something of historical interest for our family. That's something that I would include as a possibility.
So do you think that I should ask these questions as a survey without like adding some of the events, or should I create some kind of things that we've been bouncing around as activities and then, you know, ask that survey question?
I think you can do multiple surveys where the first survey you just have, would you be interested in a family gathering or a virtual gathering sometime in the summer? Then you can come back a week or two later after you got some of the results and maybe add to it. But I think the great thing about Facebook is that we don't have to pay any real cost to get it out there to the family. And if you got 270 people on that site, if you got 27 of them to respond, that would give you an indication of whether or not it's viable or not. And we can continue to ask questions to kind of further refine it. You know, do you want, you know, so.
But I'm thinking like if people, like Jason was saying, if people just hear, hey, we're having maybe a family reunion on this date. Would you be interested in going? Since they don't know anybody of the family, they've just been on Facebook with the Clewells, like without any kind of presentation, I'll use that word, like, Jason was saying, then they wouldn't really maybe know what to expect, because maybe they haven't even ever been to a family reunion.
Well, let me just throw this quickly out there. I got feedback from our last reunion from people that I saw locally, and to be honest with you, they were more interested in where were we going next on the next field trip,
Right.
like a bus trip. And poor Joanne took the brunt of those bus trips because she had to do all the legwork, with the bus tours,
Yeah.
But I actually had cool members come up to me and say, where are we going next? They were more interested in the bus trip than they were the reunion per se.
Yeah.
So we got to feel that all out before we get too far.
Right. And I think if we do post something on Facebook, I think we should word it in some way that says due to current economic conditions.
Yeah,
What would you like? Would you like to do a live in-person reunion or virtual? And then once we get some answers, then we could go from there. But I'm thinking I know some caterers toward the end of the last couple times we had reunions, I could get like a minimum, say that my minimum was like 35 people, and then they would be, okay, we can do it at this price. But I wouldn't be surprised if some caterers say you have to have a minimum of 100 people in order for us to profit from catering your event.
Maybe
Yeah.
not 100, but maybe 50 or 75.
Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, like 50 around there.
And I mean, I think the last reunion we had in 2011, I think we only had like 30.
Yeah.
And in 2012, we wound up having to cancel because we didn't have enough people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
see,
I mean, that is literally 10 years ago. So,
Right.
I mean, I think a lot of things are different. Some things are better. Some things are worse.
But yes.
well, that's what I say. We got to feel this out and get a feedback of what it looks like, before we go all out.
Yeah. Yeah. So would we say, somewhere upwards to like probably 30 to 50 people saying that they would be interested in a live in-person reunion sounds like of the selection that responds on Facebook, and then we can move forward on that, unless it's overwhelmingly, like I'm thinking, like if 30 people say, yeah, we'll go to virtual, but like 30 people or 60 people say we would rather have, I think I said virtual, like 30 people say in person, and then like 50, 60 people say virtual, then to me, that's kind of indicating that we probably should go virtual, if there's
that's
a
all
lot
hypothetical.
Yeah.
That's all hypothetical at this point in time until we get some numbers. And
Yeah.
so I'd like to see the survey first, and then we can kind of bat
kick
the
around
numbers
from there.
around once we get the results to that, to see where we should go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we got to put in the same amount of legwork, whether it's 30 or 50 or 100. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
It takes time and planning of all this, as those who've been on the committee know.
It might be in our best interest too, if Joanne could look into completing papers for that July 30th date, because till we get out, I mean, she can always cancel it. But
Right.
Well, I don't know if that's a question.
I can check with the church secretary tomorrow to see if we can put paperwork in, to at least save the date for now.
Right, right.
And then if something happens, I'll have to find out if they would need a deposit right away, or if, maybe since I'm a member of the church, they might say, okay, we'll just gonna hold off on that,
Yeah, if we can wait till the
right away.
survey results come in.
Right.
Joanne, I'm
At
going to
least
send you an
have the
email
date.
after this meeting about that. Okay.
Okay. But
Yeah.
yeah, I can check with the church office. Like I said, I checked the other day and I didn't see anything on the church calendar for the 30th of July. So right now that's probably a good
day.
It's early enough to be able to catch that before anybody else catches it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what I was thinking. At least if we have our, to save the date on there, that gives us some information too. Because if you're going to send out a survey, you want to tell the people the date. Because
Right.
somebody may want to come, but they've already booked Disneyland or Disney World
Right.
or something for July 30th.
And you know
So-
what you could always do, say if we wind up doing a virtual, we can always say July 30th is going to be the date for the virtual too, you know?
Yes, true.
Yeah.
True.
I don't think the church would require a deposit because Joanne's a church member, I'm a church member. They know where we live.
Yes, they know where we live.
That's not a problem, as far as the monies go. That's the least of our worries. As long as we have our name on the calendar that they know it's a possibility,
That
they
will
won't double book it. So,
right, that, and look, Connor, you weren't here the last time we had a meeting. We talked about, possibly doing, putting paperwork in for the Grove as well as the Fellowship Hall and Kitchen.
yeah,
Just in
I
case.
was actually tuned in. I didn't get in on.
Oh,
it.
okay. Yeah, just in case, it's way too hot
Right.
or it rains, then we
Right.
can be in the Fellowship Hall.
Or if we just want to send the kids out
Yeah.
because they're driving us crazy.
Yeah, you can do that
Well,
too.
That's been our experience over the years. We tried different ways to get the kids there and it never really worked. We had even a bounce thing out in the Grove for the kids. And it
Yeah,
only
and I
drew a
remember Brenda,
handful
Sue,
of
and I
people.
were the only two that used it.
Yeah.
Oh, they
Well-
didn't use it?
We didn't have any kids.
Yeah.
We
But
did it
it
as
was-
hopefully.
yeah, we tried a lot of things over the years, so,
Yeah.
we don't have to reinvent the wheel here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I'm thinking if there still isn't interest, then it's just not the right time. So I don't think anybody should like do more work, and drive themselves crazy if it's just not a possibility. So I think we should just test the waters. If they seem fine and if it's working out, then, go for it. And what it is what it is.
Right, yeah. The survey, as we pretty much determined, would be the way
Yeah.
to go. See if there's enough interest. Because like I said, it's a lot of work for a few people, so,
Yeah.
Yep.
We would have fold and stuff parties with the executive committee. Richard would print out the letter and we had actually it was stuffing because we had a folding machine and, we put, the executive committee came, we had some people putting stamps on the envelopes, some people putting the letters in the envelopes, some people putting return address labels and because I mean, the one time we wound up doing it, it was just Richard, Dad, Mom, and I think it took us 3 hours or more to do 300 and some odd letters. And that's, so it only takes a little while to do it for the whole committee if we get together and do that, but.
Yeah, but I propose that we pretty much, if if we're going for a real live one, but even for a virtual one, that I don't think we should, I think the sending the letters part should be only reserved for certain people that we don't have email addresses for, or we have no other way to really contact them. And we're thinking, they're not on the computer and we want to get in touch with them and send them a hard copy. I think the majority of people, 80 to 90%, should get an electronic copy in their inbox of any kind of invitation.
That's great in a perfect world, but I can tell you my database that I have, 90% of those people do not have email addresses.
Well, you shared with me, I think, what your database is, and
Yeah.
I was trying to fill in the details, and I was able to get some addresses, confirm some addresses, get email addresses. There's a lot that I still don't have anything for, but I would rather spend my time trying to get email addresses than sending, 55 cent. Is it 55 or is it more?
I don't
Is
know
it
what it is now, no.
whatever it is, to an address that it'll probably get returned anyway.
If I can jump in real quick, I have a kind of an unrelated question. It's something that my sister mentioned and my mother mentioned many years ago, that there was a member of the Clewell family out in Ohio that would have some reunions. Does anybody know who that group might have been?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I can tell by the silence that that's a definite no. Okay.
Wasn't it, Conrad, somewhere like Erie, Pennsylvania, Ohio border, somewhere around there, that there was another group that had?
My recollection was Ohio,
Okay.
somewhere. I couldn't even tell you what town or anything. It
Right.
was just, we heard about there was a group out there. But as far as I know, we were never in contact with anybody.
I thought at one reunion somebody did come from that group because he had a T-shirt on that said "Clewell Family Reunion."
Oh, you might be right. Your memory might be
But-
better than mine. I don't
But
know.
that was probably the maybe late 80s, early 90s. So it's been
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah, that's quite possible, but nobody, as long as I sat on the board, ever made contact with us by letter or whatever, So
Right.
I can't really say who that person might have been.
There's a lot of people. The second most amount of people that participated in my survey about what state do you live in was Ohio on the Facebook site. So there's got to be somebody, on the Facebook site that would be involved with these reunions, even if they held them in the past. So that definitely, I would post something about that on Facebook.
Not
And
at all. If you,
yeah.
that's essentially a survey. If you can find out, are any of the members of the family on the
Ohio
website
rules.
familiar with a recent reunion other than the one in 2011?
Yeah. And I wouldn't necessarily rule out mailing hard copies to everybody instead of email, because we did have family members that, even though they lived in Seattle, Washington, when we were doing family dues and stuff like that, is like, I can't make it to the reunion, but here's my yearly donation.
Mhm.
And that was all generated via mail as opposed to email.
Yeah, but maybe if they got an email that was part of that, where it said, include your donation, they can still mail it back. It's just a soft copy, electronic copy of what they would get in the mail. So, unless they don't really deal with the internet and stuff like that, totally hard copies all the way. But like
Right.
nowadays, even when people are like sending in money or something like that, they would normally, unless it's like a wedding or something, would get an electronic copy of the application, registration, whatever.
Okay, but I can probably guarantee you, don't quote me on this, but that list that I sent you,
Mhm.
I can probably guarantee you that 3/4 of those people are probably 60 and over.
Yeah,
And
Probably.
and probably don't have email.
yeah.
Oh,
Or
wait a
don't
minute.
want email.
Oh,
Peter takes offense.
I just got kind of stabbed in the chest there.
Not you, Peter, not you, Peter, but some of the other folks that I know from on that list. I think
Careful,
there were,
I'm 80 years old, you know.
I
There you
know,
are.
Conrad, you're on that list, but you're tech savvy. But yeah, I can guarantee you a lot of those folks. I can't even think of any names on that list currently that would be anywhere near close, even near close to my age of 54.
Yeah, and the other thing, Joanne, too, those addresses, remember how they changed? People never notified us of a change of address or anything.
Yeah.
Right, which was
So-
which was kind of a little kind of a good and a bad, because yeah, we'd get the return mail, but if it said, if it said forward to this address, we could resend it to their new address. But if it came back, forwarding, or it expired or stamped deceased, then we know, okay, we could take this person off the list and not worry about sending to this person again.
Yeah, I think the U.S. Postal Service only forwards mail
Year.
up to a year. Yeah.
Yeah, 1 year.
So I have a feeling that most of those addresses that have changed are long past a year of
Right.
forwarding.
Yeah, it's possible, most likely.
Yeah. Well, I think in this modern day, the majority of people can get an electronic version of the invitation, but that is, after all, several steps in the future.
Oh, yeah. We have to find out if we
figure
can,
out.
if it's viable to have one.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when you guys want to get together again? 2 weeks from now?
Every day Saturday to me.
I mean, we can get together again next Sunday if you want, but I don't know, it seems like there's a lot of things to be done.
Let's see what the survey looks like and then plan for 2 weeks.
Okay,
Yeah. Get the survey out on Facebook and then plan it for 2 weeks and see what kind of response we get.
Yeah. I am available in 2 weeks. And I can do the survey on today and get it out there. And is everybody on this, or is everybody on Facebook so that they would be able to see it? And
I am.
like, who's here? Is everybody on Facebook?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So check it out. And if you guys are like, hey, you should have worded a little differently, or you have suggestions of the wording, just let me know, because I can easily go in there and edit it and change it up and, have it a little differently. Does
Excellent.
that sound good?
Sounds
Yeah, you're
good.
going to put that on the Clewell group.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I might even
Because
pin it.
otherwise I'd never see it, because I don't look at Facebook every day per se on,
Yeah.
as we said earlier, the things just keep rotating and I would miss it, but.
Yep. Yeah. And I might pin it to the front of it. So the first thing that people see when they get on there would be that, hopefully. And just people like you guys have been doing. I haven't been doing anything. So I think it's Richard and other people just causing this kind of hey, we're having these things and stuff like that, that literally like 30 people joined in the last month or so. So just keep doing that.
I'm like a festering abscess.
Because like if we're all in like at least one spot, then or even if we're not, but somebody else in our family is on the Facebook page, then people will hear what's going on, like, a cool meeting or whatever, which I think is really important.
Okay, well, let me just play devil's advocate real quick. Richard posted on Facebook about this Clewell conversation. You got 270 people, and you've only had 8 people actually log in out of 200, out of
I think
270.
I think the his first event where and he really was making it known we're going to hear from this person, and I was so surprised at the number of people that were interested in that.
How many people logged in? I can't remember.
I thought it was 30 something, right? Something
like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the last week's conversation, it was down to what, like 10 or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
And then this conversation is like 7
or 8, something like that.
And I texted Jarrett. He was on Clewell conversation too in the background. He was doing a Conrad. But this one, I texted him. I was like, "Are you going on?" And he's like, "No." So
well, I'm just trying to kind of be realistic that, you posted it out there. At least 270 people might have seen it, but you only got
probably not 270 people saw it, because of the way Facebook works.
Right.
Like when I was doing different surveys, like for instance, I did the survey about the states. I did the survey about please share your military if you have a military person in your life and stuff like that. And the states one, I kept obsessing about that. I was like, tell me your state, and I eventually got 100 people, a little bit over 100, like 102 or something like that, people to respond. But I had to really push it to ask people, please tell me what state you're from. So, I mean, we're not going to get the majority of 270 people to respond to this survey, but hopefully close to 100. And we'll just, somebody said, we'll just evaluate it. And when we feel like we have enough responses to actually come up with a decision.
Is there a way that you can look on YouTube to see how many might have caught the broadcast?
Yes. It shows how many people have viewed it. Absolutely. Okay, that's what YouTube is all about. How many people have watched the videos?
How many people looked at it?
Yep. It does do it. So hold on, I can tell you. But you'll probably be disappointed. Okay, so 66 views from Nancy, 18 views for conversation number 2, 47 views for Clewell conversation 1. So we can see that it went from 66 wanted to hear about the history. And then the same day when we got together, it was 47 views. That's not including the people who already saw it, which you could add on. I don't know if that was 30 as well. I don't think it was, but and then the number 2 was only 18 views, and we had about 10 people in there. So it's just going down, which I think is a logical thing that will happen. Like, unless you have the YouTube, what do you call that? Like if you create a YouTube video product that people are like, oh yeah, I gotta watch this every week it comes out, you know?
So many people are just interested in entertainment nowadays, so
Yes.
that's a problem too. If we don't have that draw to bring in that entertainment value,
And keep in mind,
go ahead.
keep in mind when Nancy did her presentation, a lot of the people who showed up were members of that family. And a lot of people say, well, since it's not my family, I'm not interested. So there was a small group that were very interested in that particular slice of the family. And unless you've got someone who's a real historian and can really do that kind of work, a lot of the stories are going to be forgotten and ignored, unfortunately. And so, but yeah, that's Nancy's influence and that family's interest that really spiked that number.
Yeah, and I think despite that people might be losing interest, I think this is a great thing that you're doing, Richard, because people can go back, and maybe the people that are right now, it's only a few people interested, but maybe 10 years from now, their children are like super interested, or other parts of the family are super interested, and they can go back, and this has been documented, you know, so they can see it whenever they're interested.
Very true. Very true.
You know, and I mean, I don't know. I think you do this because you enjoy doing it, and I do it because I enjoy doing it, what I do. And, you know, whether we reach one person who didn't know about their Clewell history, or we reach 100 people that didn't know about their Clewell history, I think it's important, you know, so.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
So, anything else for the good of the order? Because we've been on almost an hour and a half.
Yeah, why didn't we get cut off like last time?
Because there's a miracle that happened.
Did you spend money? Oh, Richard.
Don't you believe in miracles? Oh, you have little faith.
We didn't get cut off because we got snow in Pennsylvania yesterday.
No, last time we got together, I was using the free side, and it's kind of like, oh, I mean, Donna, even you said, oh no, and it was very frustrating. Now we can talk leisurely, and you know, it's much more, shall I say, effective, and so.
What's the price of a license for Zoom?
For the basic one is $150 a year. $15 a month, or if you do the whole year, it's $150.
Not bad.
Now, if you want to go with the real business stuff, where you got 1,000 people to view it and all that kind of stuff, oh, you could be talking hundreds of dollars a year.
Wasn't there a third thing that we were going to talk about? Because I remember 3 things, like the website, the reunion, and I thought there was
the genealogy.
Genealogy.
And we did talk about that.
Okay.
On how to. We didn't come up with any conclusion, but I think we did.
We talked about it.
That's why you have meetings.
Yeah.
So, all right, unless I hear otherwise, I'll plan a meeting, say, in about 2 weeks, and Donna will publish the survey on Facebook. and we'll see what happens from there, and we'll see what's happening.
Okay, good.
Is that good for everybody?
Yep.
Absolutely.
And
God
I'll
bless
send you-
everybody.
God
We
bless you too.
we had snow in Huntsville yesterday too, by the way, just to let you know. It's woke up to about 3 inches worth of snow in some areas. Most of it was just like 1.5 inches, but it was
Is that-
cold down here
Yeah,
right
they
now.
were,
Is that Alabama?
Yeah, Alabama, North Alabama.
yeah.
Wow.
And
They
you
were
guys-
saying that we were supposed to get like 7 inches. I don't think we got more than an inch, half an inch.
And
It
you guys,
drifted.
you guys in that part of the country don't have snow plows.
No, we just wait until it thaws.
Till it melts. Exactly. So,
Yeah.
all right. We will catch you all later, and we'll take it from there then. See you.
Thanks seeing
See you about 2
everybody.
Yep, good seeing you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.